What's up, guys? I am up at Whittlebury Hall today, not far from Silverstone. In fact, so close to Silverstone I can actually hear in the background the noise of racing cars going around a racetrack. That is the noise that I grew up with. I grew up living next door to Brands Hatch, which was similar. Every kind of day you could hear something tearing around the racetrack, and I've no doubt that is probably where my love of motor racing originally began. Anyway, I'm here today not particularly for motor racing, but obviously motor racing related. I'm here to give a talk to a pharmaceutical company about how Formula One teams, like people like Force India, but also others, manage to succeed on much lower budgets, do more with less, if you like, than some of the bigger teams. It's quite an interesting topic, and it doesn't just apply to people like Force India. Everybody has to do more with less, even the big teams. Right, so talk done. It was a lot of fun, actually. Really good, really relaxed atmosphere, really relaxed crowd as well. So I really enjoyed that one. It was good. They're not always like that. Some are a bit stuffy and a bit kind of suited and booted, and sometimes you don't get laughs at your jokes and all that sort of stuff, which is awkward. But no, this lot were great, so I really enjoyed it. I've now got to head home to pick up the kids from school. And then tomorrow morning, I've got my dad coming to stay. My dad lives in France, so we don't see him that often. But he's coming over to stay for a few days, so got to get the house ready for that. By the way, loving the Range Rover. Really, really love this car. I got asked a really interesting question at the end of today's talk. It's a question that I've been asked a number of times over the years, and there's no real right or wrong answer to it. But the question was, how much of the performance of a Formula One car is down to the car, and how much is down to the driver? Now, as I say, no right or wrong answer, but I did a TV show at Sky a year or so ago with a guy called Tony Purnell, who used to be the team principal of Jaguar Racing Formula One team, and then Red Bull Racing. And then took up a position where he's still at now in British cycling. And he had a really interesting perspective on it. He said the difference between the two sports, having worked in them both, is that in Formula One, the performance comes 90% from the car, 10% from the human element, the driver. He said in cycling, it's exactly the opposite way round. Now, I found that really interesting. I actually thought that was a bit of an extreme view. I don't have quite the experience in cycling that he has, but my view of Formula One was that that was a bit extreme. I would have probably put it at something more around the 70% car, 30% driver. But, you know, I'd love to know what you think, first of all, on that sort of percentage number. Do you think, is that where you would have put it? But, perhaps, a bit more deeply, do you think that's right? Do you think that's what Formula One should be? And when we got massive rule changes coming for 2021 and beyond, should we be putting more emphasis on those heroes, the heroes of our sport that we're always trying to big up and make superstars of? Should they be the ones bringing far more performance to the car than the technology itself? Should Formula One drivers be doing something in a Formula One car that we as mere mortals could never even dream or hope to come anywhere close to? And if they should, is that how it is now? Or should we be looking at changing rules and systems and processes to make that the case? Let me know what you think. Now, it will come as no major surprise to you that my opinions on this are kind of, the engineering behind these amazing cars is just that, it's amazing. It's the heart and soul of Formula One. It's the very reason that I myself got involved in Formula One in the first place. The engineering, the innovation behind it, the technology, and the pushing the boundaries of that technology. Having the ability within Formula One that's unrestricted, much more so than the real world, to be allowed to go out and try things on an almost weekly basis, to experiment, to come up with some wacky ideas, but yet make them into reality and see if they work. That's why I got involved in Formula One. I was blown away by seeing six-wheeled cars and the car with the giant fan on the back, the Brabham. Things like that just piqued my imagination and kind of inspired me to go and follow my dreams of engineering at the very highest level. I love that about Formula One. So to dilute that, to take that away from this sport that I love would absolutely cripple me. I think it would be a disaster. It's the last thing I think we should be doing for Formula One. But whenever I look at the opinions of people, the opinions of people in the comments of this particular channel on YouTube, all the people who criticise Formula One or express a desire to see something different in Formula One, to see changes in Formula One, you know, for the better as they see it. They all want things like closer racing. They want unpredictable racing. They want the driver to be much more of a performance differentiator. They want the best drivers to come out on top. They want to be looking at those drivers and having wow moments when they see them doing unbelievable feats. They want to look at them as superheroes achieving things that us mere mortals simply couldn't achieve. They want to see them overcoming adversity during a race and fighting their way through the field to get back to the front. Every now and again they want to see an underdog have a great day, have an absolutely brilliant day where everything comes together for him and he is at the peak of his human performance level and he manages to outscore all of the expectations. An unlikely win, a Leicester City moment, if you like, want to make a football analogy. Current Formula One just doesn't allow for that. There is a very, very easy and very simple way to make that happen though, isn't there? Give everybody the same car, or heavily restrict the engineering that they can do to those cars. Make sure that the performance difference in the cars doesn't determine the result, and that result can only be determined by the performance of the driver. That's really easy to achieve. But do we want it? I don't. I really don't. We've got that in Formula 2, or in GP3, or in F3. We've got that in many other formulas. Formula E has that on many levels. The racing is close because the cars are very similarly spec'd. The racing's unpredictable for the same reason that come the checkered flag, they're all very close to each other. Going into the last lap, you're never quite sure who's going to win. Is a driver going to pull out some absolutely balls out brave move? But I love all of that. That is motor racing at its, at its best. But Formula One should incorporate engineering at its best, in my opinion. And I really, really don't want to see us go away from that. I am all for making sure we focus the engineering on the right areas, perhaps taking away from some areas that maybe don't make too much of a difference, certainly at least visually. I did a video on that very subject talking about aero. Is aero one of the best areas that we should be focusing engineering on? Because it's a kind of black art, it's an invisible art to the fan. But engineering should be at the very, very centre of Formula One for me. By far the majority of people who work in any Formula One team are there from an engineering background, an engineering perspective. And if Formula One can be there to not only entertain, but also to inspire the next generation of amazing engineers, well, like it did for me, I'm not saying I'm an amazing engineer, but then absolutely we need to stick with that. Thoughts, please.